According to Einstein, the process of understanding is when you are able to explain what you just learned to your grandma, and your grandma gets it.
I like that.
So that's the
I love that.
definition of understanding.
Hi, and welcome to the Heart Leader podcast, where our hearts and our minds align. I'm your host, Amber, and today I am joined by Cosimo Intermite. So Cosimo, thank you for being here to help us understand how we can access this and create this amazing, love-filled, genius-filled world.
First of all, thank you very much. I'm very excited since I met you, Amber, and I can't wait to talk about this because I really believe that expanding our heart and our genius will bring us to another level in our life. So, yes.
Yeah.
And so we'll start talking about this.
Yes, I think all of us are incredibly excited. I had the honor of reading your book, like hard copy, soaking it in. And there are just so many tools and techniques that are in there. So if you can gift even a little bit of any one of those, I think that people will walk away from this just enriched.
Yes. So first of all, no one really taught us how to learn, just what to learn.
Yes.
And that's why we created blocks in learning. So in school, they tell you, for example, take your test, do this, do that. You're a kid and you love learning. But when they tell you take a test and they tell you, they don't tell you how your brain likes learning. So how can you retain everything from the test? So you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much that I want to learn. There's so much that I can retain, but you don't retain it. So you start creating blocks. And blocks can be, for example, feeling anxious about the test, feeling anxious about appointments where you have to perform, feeling overwhelmed by all there is to do, all there is to know, feeling frustrated, or just like reading over and over without retaining or understanding fully what you want to understand, and be forced to go back. There are so many blocks that I don't want to make you bored with all those blocks that we have in our life. But what I want to tell you is that once we find the perfect method for our brain, we start unlocking that part. Now, let me tell you about my story a little bit because I love this topic since I'm dyslexic. And when my company asked me, Cosimo, do you want to open an American location? I said, oh, certamente, è una bella opportunità. Perché no? Mi piace parlare in inglese. I did not speak English basically 5 years ago. I was very scared. First, since I'm dyslexic, I had a voice in my head that said, Cosimo, you're going to go there teaching those people how really can they bring their life to the next level, but you don't know that language. You are a national speaker here. You're doing great things in Italy. But why? So how can you do this now there? And so I was really scared. But then another voice said, but if I can really learn that language, how many people can I impact? Yes, Cosimo, you're dyslexic. Yes, Cosimo, you never learned English in years of school. But now you have a method. And since you have a method, you can really learn the language. And so thanks to the techniques that I teach, I learned 6,000 words in 2 weeks, plus the grammar rules in English. And then I was able to hold my course in the US for the first time. And it was incredible because the people that I held the course for, they met me 1 month before. So I couldn't even spell my name in English, or I couldn't say any sentences. And then they saw me standing up in front of them, holding the course, and they said, so do you have a twin? So who's this guy?
Yeah.
This is incredible. And so that my career started here in the US, and I made something that was not possible in my brain. And in that moment, I realized how important is having people realize that you can make any moment something that you think it's not possible for you if you're connected with yourself, and if you really know how your brain likes learning, processing, doing things, and now your heart will facilitate you in that trip if you put those things together. This is what I really learned by doing my job until now. There are many other things, of course, but this is what my book in this case is talking about, and my course, the Genius of 21 Days course, talks about. I really want to have people feel aligned when two voices are totally the opposite. And that's what I've been doing 13 years until now. And I am very excited to share things today with you.
And when we talk about that, our whole flow this month is about compassion. And that story shows self compassion, right? You had these negative voices going, what do you mean? You're dyslexic. How are you going to make this happen? And then you showed yourself like that passion inside. And I would really love for you to talk about what compassion is for you, because we talked about it a little bit before this call. But there's this understanding inside you. Okay, yes, I could fall back on that. Or I could empower myself knowing I have this method that I teach to people and I can use it myself and make this happen for myself. And that's exactly what you did. And you show that the program actually works. And that's
Yes,
amazing.
thank you. I would say compassion. So there are many meanings, and being Italian, we in Italy used to study some Latin and Greek. And so to understand where the words come from and what they really mean.
Yeah.
And so compassion has many meanings, but one of my favorite one is compassion. Compassion basically means with passion. When you're doing something, you're doing with passion. And so for me is passion, it's not just loving what you're doing, but being in the love and loving what you're doing at the same time. It's a relationship you have with what you're doing and with the things you're doing in the moment with you and for the world. So it's even deeper that we think is that word. And so that's what for me is compassion. So yeah, you're right. When I started this job and I came to the US, I was doing that for compassion for myself. So it was for myself, right?
Yeah.
But the most important thing is compassion is I'm doing this with myself, for myself, and for the world. So it's like all together in a deeper connection with love. So it's incredible what people can have that, what people can feel in that moment. It's a space that there is no time. It's just like giving and receiving at the same time, feeling part of something bigger than you, but you're as big as this thing. So I don't know how to explain with feelings this. For sure, you can recognize the compassion when you really decide this is when you want to bring love. So that's what for me is compassion.
I love that definition. And I don't know that we literally look at the passion part of compassion enough, which moves us to action, right?
Yes.
So, however, we're feeling that compassion, whether it's self compassion or compassion toward another, that's going to move us toward that action of doing something. First, we have to feel it. And for you, you can utilize that compassion to actually access the depths of knowledge or genius, however that presents itself within a person. And so,
Yes.
if we talk about the program that you have, in the way that you access it, in the way that you navigate through these blocks that we've accumulated ourselves and we've taken on, do you mind talking about the program and how you do that?
Sure. So, first of all, there are two things I want to do with you today. The first one is I would like to have you understand what it means having a little genius inside of yourself. And in order to discover your little genius, I invite you to close your eyes, for example, for a few seconds or 1 minute at the most, and think about what age has your little genius? What are you doing in the moment when you were a little genius? And for some people, it comes like, what's your first memory that you have about yourself? Sometimes it goes when you were a kid, very little, and maybe don't know like it's a memory. Maybe you're like doubting it's a memory, but actually is a memory. And you look around and you will smell something, maybe you hear something, maybe you hear your parents' voices or someone else's voices who was taking care of you in that moment. Maybe you see yourself doing something or learning something. Maybe you see yourself just enjoying your life in that moment. And the question I have for you is, what does the little genius tell you? What does the little genius think in that moment? What does the little genius wants to do with his life? Now, if you open your eyes, think about what age did you have at that moment. For some people, as I said, can be like being between 0 and 1. Some of you will be between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4. Some of you can be also up to 8, 10. So there is no like limit on doing that. But what age came to your mind is your little genius. And there is some studies about different parts of our brain working when we are learning something. And you have to know that the little genius has a very important presence. So it basically is the person that gives you the enthusiasm of learning. So learning without enthusiasm, it's not learning, okay? It's just pure and dry material to study and whatever. But the little genius has the enthusiasm like, oh my gosh, I'm learning, I'm retaining, I can apply this, I can do that. Okay, let's go next. So they can't wait to move on and have more and more and more. That's the learning your little genius is looking for. But most of the times we forget to have that part taking part of our everyday actions when we are learning. Why? Because of the blocks I talked in the beginning. Since school, we were educated to shut down the little genius and say, this is what you have to do. Just stick to things with your brain. You have to pass the test to avoid either pain of parents or people saying, oh, you have to do more, or, doing good in school, punishment or whatever, or teachers that were humiliating you in front of others saying, hey, you have to be better. You will never go as far away if you're still doing the things you're performing this way. Or we were like educated at like just sit there listening to the person talking of something that we didn't even want to know, but we have to pass the test. We were educated for years, forgetting about the little genius that's actually there, still there, waiting for you to listen to the voice. Start studying, start learning this part, start reading the book they always wanted to learn, start learning about this topic they always wanted to know, start jumping on this idea that you had a minute ago, because the ideas I'm giving you, it's just me. So it's the little genius. I have this idea. Why don't you get excited about life? It's this idea. So I do this with my students. And when I do this exercise, of course, it's a little bit longer than this. But just this tip I gave you allows you to understand, oh, there is still that voice in my head that wants to learn. Now, let's talk about the technical stuff, because now the little genius wants to go to techniques. So let's go.
And I ask you, how did you get your little genius to be excited about learning English? Like a practical application would be amazing just to understand, because I can't imagine that my little genius would be like, woohoo, let me go learn another language in a country that, I wasn't sure about going and living in the first place. So how do you get that little genius excited around material that you might not necessarily have been like super excited about in the first place?
Very good. So I love, because you're introducing exactly what I want to say right now. So it's having a method, having a process that your little genius likes using. So have your brain get excited about using the method to learn anything you want. So now, specifically on languages, what keeps people from learning languages is the fact that there are tons of things to learn, like grammar rules. Besides grammar rules, there are conjugations, irregular verbs, regular verbs. There is phrasal verbs in English. There are so many things to learn in English or in any other languages, idioms. And you think like, since you're going to use a method that's not good, your brain doesn't want to do it. And what's the method that we use usually to learn a language? The method we use is repeating over and over, writing over and over, or doing things over and over. So repetition. I want to share the screen. I think you will love this. Basically, what happens is we repeat over and over. And repetition doesn't work long term. It's also boring. And what happens is you've been maybe in high school or in college studying over and over, maybe Spanish or other things in language, and you can never get to speak the language. So you start believing as a block that no matter how much you're going to repeat over and over, you're never going to speak the language. So if I don't use it, I lose it. And you're right. This is like the curve of forgetting, oblivion curve. So this curve says something very important. Time zero means the time that you just finished to study, okay? The time zero, so basically this curve is make you understand how your memory works on the, so as the time goes by, okay? Time zero is when you finish to study. What does this curve says? Hermann Ebbinghaus says that at time zero, you remember, or you know, your brain can access the information 100%. But after 20 minutes, you're losing more than 25% of what you just studied, what you learned. And what happens? After 1 hour, you're losing even more than 50% of what you studied. After 8 hours, you lost almost 25%. Actually, almost 75% of what the things you were studying. After 31 days, you basically lost like more than 75% of what you studied. Within 6 months, you're going to lose almost everything except for the 3%. That's why, for example, if you're studying a language, you're going to remember maybe out of 100 words, 3 words that you studied, or out of 100 sentences, you found 3 sentences that you learned. And so what happens is you say, I've been studying maybe for years, and after 6 months, I lost it. And you know why you lost it? Because we are all passive learners. In school, we are passive learners. And the learning pyramid by Edgar Dale, 1969, says that we remember 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, and 50% of what we see and hear. So for example, when you're watching a movie, looking at an exhibit, or when you're watching a demonstration, when you're seeing something done in a location. So now think about it. Let's say you were just seeing and hearing the Spanish class or the language class, and you put this curve. You understand that already you learned 50%, half of what they were teaching you, and you lost in 31 days more than 75% of it.
Wow.
This is by using a wrong method, because we can achieve results, but to achieve different results, we need to have a different method. Okay, so what's a perfect method? So a perfect method goes through basically 6 steps, and they are approach, reading, understanding, organizing, retaining, and be able to explain. Approach is called also, this is approach. Approach is called also mind activation. So how do you activate your mind and you prepare your mind before you start studying or reading? Well, there is no exactly preparation. Most of the people jump into the studying, jump into the working, jump into what they're doing. And so what happens is, imagine like they're throwing piece of information inside of a big pot. Then they know, oh, it's everything in my brain. And then when you're trying to get it out, they say, I don't know where it is now or where they are. So it's like you're throwing all of your clothes in a bedroom. You know you have socks, but in the moment you can't find them. So because you don't know where they are. So if you don't prepare your mind to absorb the piece of information, you're going to lose those pieces of information at some point because they are not organized. Then reading. A method for reading, it's called strategic reading. Maybe I would say this too. Many people know about speed reading. It's very popular, okay? But speed reading doesn't work with everyone, okay? I don't say it doesn't work, but it doesn't work with everyone. For example, for me, being dyslexic didn't really work. But why it doesn't work with everyone? Because people are stupid or they can't get it or their brain doesn't work? No. It's because if you speed up a process that doesn't have strategies, you're going to lose more details than you're losing while you're reading normally. So your brain will never speed up to lose more details. So will force you and prevent you to speed up. But what if you have strategies? If you have strategies to read, strategic reading, now you can speed up. You can call that strategic speed reading because you speed up since you have strategies. Then understanding organization. There are many other techniques, organization and understanding. Many people understanding, and this is very interesting because I would ask you, Amber, what's the goal of reading according to you?
Well, there are multiple. Sometimes it's for entertainment value. Sometimes it's to gain insight and new strategies and information, but it's always to garner some type of information.
Exactly. So, see, our brain is set up to, I have to gain something from this book. I have to get something from this book. I have to basically retain and learn. I always said retain is here, right? So basically, you are all reading with the goal of retaining. What's skipping? It's skipping one important step, which is the understanding. Now, and let me tell you, it's not only you, Amber. It was also me. It was everyone else. So think about it. In school, they tell you, and I don't have anything against school. It's just a different way to approach this. But they say, you have to know this. You have to know this. You have to know this. What's the word knowing reminding you? Is I have to retain this. I have to do this anyways, but I have to do it, okay? In any ways I can. So what happens is you're going to stick to specific information. And when you're studying, your focus is retention, but you're not really understanding. So what happens? After you pass the test, gone. Yeah. So, but if we read with the goal of understanding, now we can retain better. So the goal of reading is understanding. And what's understanding? According to Einstein, the process of understanding is when you are able to explain what you just learned to your grandma, and your grandma gets it.
Okay? I like that.
So that's the
I love that
definition of understanding. And I can give you my definition. My definition is this. Think about this. When you're studying, you're worried about, when you're learning something, when you're working on something, you're worried about the retention part if you're studying, or you're worried about the outcome. So you're in this constant, like, am I going to make it? Am I going to do this? Hopefully this comes that way. It needs to come this way and all of that. So what happens? The more the stress levels goes up, even if minimum, the more your focus is going down gradually. And so because you're worrying about the outcome or the retention in this case of learning, right? So if you're feeling no focus, guess what? Also your understanding goes down, right? Now what happens is the quality of your studying at the end will be, I have to go back again and re-understand what I should have understood in the first time. Now, for me, the process of understanding as a definition is a process that doesn't worry about retention. So if you're reading a book, if you're reading and listening to a podcast, if you're listening to a video, if you're watching a class, whatever it is, if you don't worry about retention, you're going to understand and enjoy the moment more. Our brain works when we are in the moment, not when we are stressed about the future. So that's why the process of understanding is a process that doesn't worry about retention. This will enhance your understanding. Guess what? If you understand more, you get excited. If you get excited, your energy is going up. Your focus is going to go up. And so what happens? You're going to retain more. And now you will be able to explain. Because the best way to then learn is to explain what you learned to someone else. Maybe your grandma, and guess what happens? You're reinforcing what you just learned. Let's say you're learning a language. What I did with my wife is, do you know that in English, they say this sentence in Italian this way? This is insane. I love this. And so it was always like having fun with it. Now, of course, there are techniques that allows you to retain better. And maybe I can show you a technique now. I want to show you an exercise. I think you will love it. And so let's do this. I need your participation, Amber. There are not many people on this call right now, but it's me and you. And so usually when I do these speeches with 1,200 people or whatever, I ask them different pieces of information. I will get all those pieces of information from you right now. And so we'll do this exercise, okay?
Okay, let's do it.
So let's start. So you're going to give me different 2-digit numbers, okay? They need to be like 71, 84, whatever. They have to be all different, as I said, so random. And they don't need to mean anything to you.
Okay.
Okay. So I will write them down and then I will ask you some questions. Okay. So give me the first one.
17.
Oh, 17. Okay.
34. 12.
Yes. You said 12?
Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect.
Need more?
Oh, yes. We need to get at the end of
Oh,
the
wow.
line.
14.
Okay.
89.
Yes.
62.
Yes.
11. 94.
Yes.
52.
Yes.
43.
Sorry, 43, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Oh my gosh. It's hard just thinking of numbers.
It's okay.
27.
27.
18. 49.
49.
72. 89.
You already said 89. Do you want me?
I
Do you want?
did. Then that number means something to me, doesn't it?
No. But if you want to change it, I can change it.
Okay. 84.
84. And last one?
Last one would be 67.
Okay, perfect. Now, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
If you had to memorize all of those numbers, now I know you write my book and maybe you watch part of my programs too, but I would say, let's say you didn't read anything, you know nothing about the topic, okay?
Okay.
What would you do to memorize all of those numbers in the order you see it to know them perfectly? What would you do?
Before your book, I would have
Yes.
created a song that helped me remember.
Okay, so basically what you're doing is, are you dividing those numbers to create a song, or you say all the numbers the way you see? I see. So I don't want you to sing right now, even if it would be funny, but
Well, thank you for that. And I'm sure everybody who's listening to this thanks you too.
so, but let's say, so would you divide the numbers or would you sing them all together?
I would find a tune and that would require me to divide them up. So maybe you take the tune of Jingle Bells or something like that, and you would divide it up according to that tune. So it would flow with the tune.
Okay, perfect. I got it. So basically what you're saying is you're going to pass more than one time on this piece of information in order to remember it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how long would it take you to memorize all of them if you think about before anything you did with me? So how long would it take you to memorize all of it?
Probably using that method about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. So 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Honestly, when someone did this to me, I said like 1 month. It was like something crazy. Like at some point I said 1 hour. For long I have to remember this or whatever. But it was a lot of time.
Yeah.
So now
I will say for clarity, there's a difference, as you pointed out, between memorization and being able to repeat it to you for the next hour to 2 hours, and you asking me 2 months from now what this sequence of numbers is.
Okay, perfect. So let's say I'm going to ask you these numbers tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay? So how long would it take you? Still 10 minutes? Or you're going to think during the day to add to those numbers sometimes so we can add more time to 10 minutes?
Yes. If you need me to tell you tomorrow, it would likely take me longer than 10 minutes. I think we're going more toward that. I'd have to revisit it over the course of every hour. So probably up to that day, just so it's stuck.
Okay, perfect. So let's say 20 minutes to the most?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you had the perfect method to learn this, how long would you like to take to memorize this?
The perfect method, I'd like to be able to understand a rhythm to it and know it within 5 minutes and hold on to it.
Okay, so 5 minutes. Okay, now I need a stopwatch. Do you have a stopwatch close to you?
I do not, but I will see. Let's see.
Okay.
Yes, now I do.
Perfect. So we're going to do this. You're going to say, 3, 2, 1, go. I
right.
start memorizing all of those numbers. Then when I finish, you tell me stop. And so I just say, I will tell you stop, and you tell me how long it took me to memorize all of them. Okay. Oh, just a second. Since I'm going to delete all of them at the end, I'm going to. So, can you take a picture of it? Otherwise, you don't remember all the numbers that I'm going to have here.
Yes. Got it.
Okay. Ready?
Do you need to erase them?
No. You have to tell me 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Go and start memorizing.
All right. Ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Stop. How long did it take me?
17.3 seconds.
Okay. That sucks, anyways. So, just kidding.
I was going to say, it's definitely better than 5 minutes. 17.3 seconds. Are you kidding?
Now, I would say to you why I chose numbers. I chose numbers because usually it's the most difficult thing to memorize. Why? Because there is no why. It's pure, dry memorization. So basically, it's like school. I'm asking you to do something that your brain doesn't want to do it. There is no reason to do it. And so you're going to play in your brain, oh, why have to put effort in this? It's going to take me this time. I don't want to do this. So that's what your brain has to fight. You have to fight with your brain in order to win and start learning that, right?
Yeah.
But also, they are so abstract. So it's not like words. If there are like foreign words, they have a meaning. And so with the meaning, we can associate something, do something. But numbers becomes very hard to associate with something, most of all when they are not related to something that happened to you, right? So it becomes really hard and difficult to do it. That's why I chose numbers. So if I can do this with the numbers, guess what happens if there are no numbers, there are things that I want to do, things for myself that are really interested in doing it, right? And so, as I was saying, the little genius we have inside of us start understanding, oh my gosh, I can do this in 17 seconds. Let me do it. It doesn't take me so long. Then I can play, I can do other things. And if I know this, I can do other things and I can play this. So that's the beauty of having the techniques. Is it clear what I mean?
Yeah. It's impressive and amazing. And I mean, the numbers are so random, even for me. So
yes.
All right.
So before I tell you the numbers,
you?
I want to tell you something else.
Okay.
So why I want to tell you something else? Because there is another important topic we have to introduce now and also for later, that everyone learns in a different way. Everyone has their own cognitive styles. So there are about 12 cognitive styles. And what I'm going to talk about the main cognitive styles today. But basically, people can be global, analytical, visual, and verbal. So all those people process pieces of information different from each other. So in this case, you can be analytical visual or global verbal, analytical verbal, global visual. Cognitive, and I will tell you why I'm saying this to you in a little bit. Cognitive from Latin means understanding, which means the way we learn. Okay? So what happens is, usually the way we learn is the way we speak. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, about the speaking part. But about the learning, what I'm saying is everyone is going to apply the same technique in a different way. This is what the most question I have from people. Will I be able to do the same thing you do with the numbers? Well, yes, but the technique you're going to use and the way your brain is going to use it will be different based on how your brain likes learning. So you can be global verbal and you will apply this technique in a different way from an analytical visual person. That's why it's important for you to understand how your brain likes learning. And basically, when I have those people asking me this as a student, I say, okay, this is your brain, how they like learning. There is also a test they take. It's a little bit more process. But I want you to understand what you are so you understand how your brain likes learning. So global means that your brain likes having the big picture and the big situation in front of you before the details. Analytical means I want to have all the details under control in order to have a big picture. Visual is get to the point of applying, application. And so examples, metaphors are the most important thing for them. Verbal, they are more into the knowledge part, means they are more logic. So logic means that they have everything it's been said needs to make sense. And they want to use then the metaphors and the examples to clarify what makes sense for them. So why am I saying all of this to you? First, everyone is able to do the number exercise I did if you're understanding your brain likes learning. Second, basically, I want you to experience your cognitive styles, because in this moment, global visual people that want to have the big picture and get to the point, are struggling in listening to me in this moment, because they want to say, okay, but when you say the numbers, you're still talking about this. I didn't say this. And analytical verbal people also struggling because they are saying, okay, I got the point. Everything makes sense. But why didn't you say the numbers yet? So we perceive the learning in different ways. And that's why I wanted to talk about this. I want all of you to experience what your brain feels when we are learning something, okay, based on our cognitive styles. So now, you want to know the numbers?
Well, first, I desire to acknowledge that, because I think and I feel that we overlook these aspects of ourselves way too often. And we attempt to shoehorn ourselves into everyone else's learning style. And even our school systems are set up that way. So simply acknowledging what you just pointed out will expand our ability to engage in our own learning styles. So thank you for bringing that forward.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So now I'm going to do this. Since I want everyone to think that this is real and I don't have anything written on my wrist, or I don't have things that I have to suggest the numbers, since I've been talking until now, sometimes people think, I still remember those numbers? Is it possible that after there's a lot of talk and you still remember it? You should have said that immediately. So they sometimes feel anxious for me that I'm going to forget the numbers, but I'm not. I'm not forgetting them. Once something's memorized with the techniques, it's in your brain. So I'm going to turn myself the other way. So I am going to tell you the numbers. So Amber, do you hear me very well?
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you digit by digit.
Okay,
we have,
got them up.
Let me see. We have 1 7 3 4 1 2 1 4 8 9 6 2 1 1 9 4 5 2 4 3 2 7 1 8 4 9 7 2 8 4 6, and give me 7 seconds. It's 7.
That was correct. 100%. Not one miss.
So what do you think?
I think 17 seconds is much better than my goal of 5 minutes.
Of course, but I want people to understand who are listening. First of all, go on the video to see this, because it's amazing. But the most important thing I want you to understand is not me doing this exercise, but if it were you doing this exercise, if it was you thinking, I can learn not this number in 17 seconds, but 4 new words in a different language. I can work with this efficiency. I can work with this passion. I can work with this intensity, with this excitement. How would it be for you? How would you feel? How many more things can you bring to life that you're not doing right now because you're blocked in a method that's not working for your brain? So the point of all of this that we're doing today is really to understand that there is a genius inside of you. And if you know what the method is for you, you're going to reach levels of abundance, of creativity, of serenity, of feeling connected that you have no idea. I wish you could all feel like I'm feeling right now after I finish those numbers. And so that's what means having a method, because on the opposite, a lack of method creates a lack of confidence. But if you have a method, they will create a huge confidence on yourself. And I want all the people to understand the ultimate little genius believes in one and one emotion, which is trust. Trust the process, trust yourself, trust your life. Everything is going to be great. If you allow yourself to learn, if you allow me, little genius, to have methods and learn with you. So that's what I wanted to share with you about this topic today.
And for me, I can feel the fun you are having while you are doing it as well. And that is exciting for me to desire to pick it up and start going. But I would estimate you don't just pick up these practices, these methods, and bam, I am right in there and I'm a genius the moment I just read the book. There is practice involved in this. So can you set the table for that? And again, when we talk about compassion and self-compassion, if you don't get all these, oh, wow, long lines of numbers right out of the gate, taking the time to understand it is a practice and you have 21 days to get through it, not like 21 minutes.
Yes. So first of all, for my global visual people, that when I get to the point, I will answer this question in a short sentence. Okay. And the sentence is this: can you learn how to swim from a book? No. So once you learn how to swim, how long does it take you to learn how to swim really, really well? Well, as far as statistics, is 21, 28 days. That's studied. It's studied that we create a biological and mental habit after 21 or 28 days of practice. How long do you have to practice every day? How long do you have to do this for every day? Well, first of all, you have to do it every day. But when you, for example, let me give you this. I have this student and he's a professional. He's a super, super successful. And he said, I want to take the certification right now to become a better financial advisor and offer more to my clients. And I said, well, okay, we have to study, right? Yes. But because I can't study the whole day, I can apply everything every day. And I said, the techniques, once you learn it, will be part of you as soon as you learn them, because you already see results. And he's not doing like extra practice, but he's practicing within what he's already doing. So my answer to how long does it take you to learn this? Yes, it's 21, 28 days. But after 3 days with me, 3 days and a half, I would say, you will be able to do this exercise. If it was 10 minutes, at least under 1 minute. And this is for everyone. It doesn't matter your age, your place, what you lived, whatever. It's for everyone. Now, I want to be picky. Yes, there are people with brain injury. There are people with other characteristics and conditions. It might take them 4 minutes instead of 1 hour or 3 hours, but it's still saving time. And I'm saying this with a lot of confidence because one of the best stories I had one of the many. In my field, there was this girl that I don't want to mention her name because she doesn't want to be public, but she wanted to pass the exam to become a doctor. And so she wanted to become a brain surgeon. She had a brain concussion and a brain injury, and she failed different times the access to the school to do this. So I said to her, you know what? Come to the course. A person with your condition and without a method, it's feeling this way. But your person with your condition plus a method can be a little bit better, right? Sure. So she came to the course. It was super fun. She came to the course. She was like, oh my gosh, I have to make it. After the first exercise of memory, and it was also an exercise on organization and reading, she came to me like almost crying, saying, this is awesome. I never thought this could work for me. Even if I basically told her, worst case scenario, I'm going to give you the money back. I really care that you get results versus like business or whatever. And she felt really encouraged about it. And now she basically is at the last year, so the senior year to graduate. from the
Wow.
medical school, and she's one of the toppest students they have in the university. And it's awesome because receiving her wishes every Christmas saying, I met you and this is my life right now, it's one of the most fulfilling thing you can ever feel. Now, of course, you're not in my industry, but I can tell you something. When you see people's eyes changing because you're doing something for the world with passion, it's everything is there. So it's all you need. And you go ahead with this addiction of, I would say addiction to love, to see their eyes that way. So,
Yes. So for anyone who is interested in, I mean, obviously the book, Genius in 21 Days, is available through multiple methods. Is there one place that you would guide them? Or I know you have mindmap.coach on Instagram where they can find you. Where would you guide individuals who are interested in signing up for your program, learning more about you, and really getting engaged and involved in this?
I will give you a direct contact. And the one is you can email me to Cosimo Intermite at geniusin21days.com. You can go to geniusin21daysusa.com. And there is also there some testimonials. You will find a blog, you will find different things. But I really prefer contact with people, means I don't like a website between me and you. I prefer you can also like text or call my office. So, and I can give you the office number. It's 303-589-7430. That's a direct line to me. Or so basically all those texts are like to my office phone. So it's really good. And so otherwise, there is another number, which is 720-384-9773, which is the office number. There is an assistant that will answer the phone. But I really prefer you to get in touch with me anywhere on my social media. And for the book, Amazon. Buy the book, $5 for the Kindle, and just put a review of what you learned about it. I really want you to get exposed to those techniques. And maybe one day we'll see you sitting down in my audience and we'll have so much fun. So much fun. It will be one of the best experiences you ever had in your life.
Yeah, it is a very, very easy and fun read. So it's a great place to start. But as you said, just like getting to talk with you and be part of a program and surrounded by people who are on the same journey, I feel that there is something to that as well. As inspiring as the book is, being part of a program where that little genius is talking to other little geniuses who are being sparked as well. I feel
Yes.
that really drives that fun. And then you find other people who have the same learning style you do. And for me, for the longest time, I felt like I was on an island by myself and nobody else understood how I learned. But that's not true. And we can find those who are like us and can help us feel safe in our learning styles. So along with what you've created from the methods and that type of an approach, you've also created programs that can help us feel united in our flow. So are you willing to share a little bit about your programs and what you have going on in Genius in 21 Days as far as programs go?
Yes. So first of all, we have courses every month that we do live on Zoom. And every year we have a live one in different areas of the world. So this year will be in Italy. We have about 1,500 people coming in Italy there. It's fun. And then next year I think it will be in Mexico. I'm not sure about it, but because we scheduled it ahead of time, but will be scheduled after the second half of the year. So of course, if they go on the website, they will see this. If they ask us information, it will be. So what I can share about the Genius course? Well, the Genius course will go through the whole process of the method. You're going to build your own method, and you're going to be 2, 4, maybe 6 times faster than you are right now in retaining, learning, managing your time better, balancing your work life with your own life, your personal life better. you will feel less stressed and more connected with yourself, with your life, with what you're doing. So this will bring more abundance as a consequence. So that's what I can share so far. I'm excited actually to share something that's coming up. It's my YouTube channel with many tips, free tips on, it's not just tips, also strategies. I put this in my secret Facebook group that I have, and I share those tips with people that didn't meet me ever. I said, oh my gosh, just applying that, I saved 50% of my time. That's amazing. So I want to give. We are here to give each other, and our trip together will be unforgettable. So I'm going to do this YouTube channel with a lot of passion, as I said, so with compassion, and that would be amazing to impact the world to another level. So I will put the link in the video so everyone can join that, and you will see so much content every week coming up.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And you had mentioned that this program works for individuals who may have other conditions that they feel limited by from a cognitive standpoint. When we really discuss individuals who feel limited by their cognitive capacity, to me, that's a very big thing. I have individuals that are very close to me that have some cognitive, I don't want to call them limitations because I don't feel that it is a limit. It's something that they may not be able to catch up as quick as some others, but they see things in such a different way. And if this program can help them understand that seeing things in a different way might actually be a strength and not a hindrance, then what a gift to give to the world. So do you mind sharing a little bit about that too?
Yes. Let me tell you, for example, my dyslexia, it's called learning disability, but there are many other learning disabilities. Okay. To be honest with you, I felt limited and I accepted that limit on myself for many years because other people saying that to me, or because sometimes it was also easy to go with the limit versus putting effort. But that's my point of view. At the same time, I was also sometimes suffering because of that. And I felt like I will do this. And I was being content, but not happy with what I wanted to do. And after I took this course, I still remember when my instructor told me, hey, what you have to apply to study to read faster is this. The others are applying speed reading. You can apply this kind of reading. I finished after 6 hours. I finished a book for the first time. I was almost crying thinking, this is something I've never did for 19 years. I took my course when I was 19. And I said, I want everyone to feel this way. How can I become an instructor? That was my first reaction to my second day of the course. It was super fun. And I would say to everyone that your brain learns in a specific way. If you're dyslexic or whatever learning disabilities you have, characteristics that you have, your brain learns in that way. So now let's customize the method on how your brain likes learning and see what your brain can do. For sure, a person with a method, it's better than a person without one. And that's what I would say to people. Yes, that's the thing I can say right now, because I would start teaching, honestly. I would start the course right now for me.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yes. But I really know that if you're still thinking about the right moment to start, there will never be a right moment. There is the moment you choose for yourself is right for yourself. Yeah. And that was my very first thought, realization of, I chose for me, there was last time I was complaining about my dyslexia and I wanted to do it, period. And everything aligns towards the direction you want to go. So I found this course, I found different other people that helped me, and I'm teaching this in the world. And traveling, well, I would say it's fun. At some point it becomes a lot. As soon as I get on the airplane, I'm thinking I want to meet you, and when you meet me, your life will be a little bit better than it was before. So I want you to have more energy than you had before. And so when I get on the stage, yes, I have some I can't wait to start, but also give me the words. that I can touch their hearts and open their mind to understand they all have a little genius that's waiting to be awakened again, to be to be empowered again. Because guys, I will tell you, start this my speech last time this way. Guys, we are going to shift just in the next 30 minutes. And you're going to realize that meet each other was not just random, was meant to be. And let's do it. And so once I finished, there were people crying, people like, yeah, that's great. So it depends on your react. I can't preview that. But I was excited to see the room different than I found it. And so I think that's what Mother Teresa said. When you meet someone, leave them a little bit better than you met them. And that's my message. So that's my drive sometimes. I would say sometimes because there are so many others.
What an amazing gift to be able to leave with anyone. And it's something that you share with others. And as they integrate it, then they leave other people a little better than they found them. And so it just continues to be this ripple effect from programs that you've brought forward and are sharing. So as we wrap up, that leads us to our final question, which, as a result of all that we've just witnessed from you, there's no question you're a heart leader from our perspective. But when you hear us call you a heart leader, what does that bring forward for you? What does it invoke? What do you feel?
That's so that makes me feel a bit more emotional, because heart leader for me means many things, but there is one that means really, really, really much. Is to throw your heart farther than your fears. So what does that mean? It means there will be many doubts. There will be so much uncertainties when you are going towards a dream that you see. You can't touch it. You can't smell it. You can't taste it, but you just see it and feel it and taste it and smell in your head. But it's there, vivid in front of you. Throw your heart so far that your fear cannot see it. And plus, what I would say is, if you're feeling doubts, if you're feeling fear, if you're feeling anything like this, it's because you're in the right path. And so that's the only way you know you're in the right direction. Put your heart before any fears, and you're going to win. Because at the end of the day, love always wins. That's what it means for me being a heart leader.
And you've done that in spades. Coming over to a new country, learning the language in next to no time, continuing to share that. It's amazing that you are an example of everything that you share with others. So it's very easy to follow you because you walk the path you teach.
Thank you.
Thank you. So one more time for anyone who's listening, we're going to make sure that it is all over every place they can see video and all of our website. But if anybody is listening to this and needed some time to grab a pen, a piece of paper, how can they get a hold of you? How would you recommend they get a hold of you to learn about Genius in 21 Days? Or Cosimo.
Cosimo. So if you want to learn about Genius in 21 Days, you can email to info@geniusin21days.com. Or you can email directly to Cosimo Intermite at geniusin21days.com. Go on my website, go on my YouTube channel. I'm so excited about this. So go on my YouTube channel. It's called Cosimo Intermite. So
just Cosimo.
Just Cosimo, yes. And guys, let's have fun together. This is the best way to reach out. Also, as I said, you can text my office at 720-384-9773 or 303-589-7430. These are two numbers that you can text. And I would say have fun. Let's have fun together. So I have nothing more to share about how to get in touch with us.
That's a lot of different ways. And he's on social media, so you can find him there as well. Mindmap.coach on Instagram. So we will make certain that we provide all the ways to get a hold of Cosimo. Every time I've been with you, Cosimo, it has been nothing but fun. So just making certain everyone out there, he is not kidding when he says, let's have fun together, because he really means it. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another episode of the Heart Leader podcast, where our heart and our minds align. And now you have Genius in 21 days, so you can really expand that mind. And you have all of our Heart Leader programs where you can expand that heart at the same time. And as such, you can hop over to our social media and make sure you get this month's free download. It is all around compassion. So all you have to do is direct message us the word compassion, and we will make sure you have that free download tool in no time. Until next time, I'm your host, Amber, and I look forward to seeing you in our Sweet Vera community.